I don't know. We haven't done this for 2 weeks in these seats. It feels
that's true.
Feels weird and also nice to be back.
So. Also nice to be doing this at a normal time.
Normal time indeed. It was 10 o'clock. It was just abnormal for all of our poor people who weren't on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was on the West Coast.
All right, let's go.
Welcome everyone to our weekly Unauthorized Caucus. My name is Joanna and this is my colleague Ryan, and we are back at the Clayton office. We're having our Unauthorized Caucus at an authorized time?
It can't be the authorized time, or it's not an unauthorized caucus. No, I guess it could, because an unauthorized caucus could still have an unofficial meeting time. We're going to go with that. Okay. Unauthorized caucus, authorized time.
We prefer to do it at noon as well, but again, last week we were out of town, and we're really glad to be back here in Clayton. And before we get started, I wanted to wish everyone a happy National Coffee Day to you. If you are a coffee drinker, we don't have coffee.
I don't have coffee. We don't bring those into the library, people.
If we had coffee, we would clink our cups, but we don't. I've already had a couple cups. If you don't like coffee, I'm sorry. Hopefully someday you will.
So it's America. You are allowed to be wrong, but we prefer as good Americans, we prefer coffee in our mugs and tea in the harbor.
And we love coffee, so if you need suggestions on where to buy coffee beans or coffee grounds, definitely let us know. We can help you with that. But there's also other things we can help you with that's a little bit more on topic for today's video. And that would be, where can you find good conservative resources like books, articles? We've already talked about podcasts, articles, people to follow. But today we're going to focus on good resources for conservative books. Because I know for me, I love to have books and like stacks of books to read lists and things like that. So maybe you're like, where do I go? Where can I find things? It can be discouraging when you have places like Amazon that try to shadow ban or, make books unavailable that are conservative books. So we're going to give you a list of resources. Ryan's gonna go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and just this is a topic I've talked about with Gwen, our other coworker who works here in the library and archives. You and I have talked about it a little bit. It's been kind of interesting as we've just considered, because I know that you and I are both pretty big readers. Like I like books. I want physical books. I don't mind necessarily audiobooks or e-readers, but I prefer to have the book in my hand if I can. And there's actually, it's not just a preference. If you consider it from a different angle, like we've really the whole subscription-based society has moved us toward not owning things anymore. You're renting everything. You don't actually have the physical property. You don't have the actual disc that plays your music or the actual book, or even sometimes if, I've heard Posobiec and others point out, like a lot of people do clothing rental services, like Rent the Runway. Yeah. We're moving away. And you can call it, kind of communist or not if you want to. I tend to. It is a little bit of a Marxist idea. Like you don't actually need to own anything. You just need to rent what you need at that time. Well, there's something very valuable about owning something. And there's also something very valuable about being able to preserve this for yourself. I have this book and it cannot be changed. And that's, when I was bringing in a set of dictionaries that are from my family, a family heirloom set, I was telling, someone, do I really need a set of 1957 dictionaries? Well, you know what? In today's age, when dictionary.com and Merriam-Webster online just changed the definition of words from one day to the next to meet the PC culture, this stuff can't be changed. And it predates all of that politically correct nonsense. This is valuable for me to have, especially someone with kids. I can share information with them that they might not be able to find that information online anymore. Having a physical property is valuable. So in line with that, we were talking about this. Ed's been talking a lot about these authors and different sources, a lot more publishers than authors. That's why we thought, let's get into it, because it is valuable to own those things, to have the physical property, and not just to know where online to go for good sources, but where to go for good physical sources you can own and keep and pass on. It's very important.
So a couple places you can go to, actually a few places you can go to, is Skyhorse Publishing. They actually have one of the books that you may have already heard about is The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And of course, a lot of other content on there that you would be very interested in. Another place would be Regnery.com. You probably see similar books on all of these websites, but again, we're just really glad that these options are out there. And then posthillpress.com. And Ryan's going to share all these in the comments. Posthillpress.com actually has Taking Back Trump's America by Peter Navarro. So if you want to get your hands on that book, you can on this website. Another one that I'm not as familiar with, we actually had the founder of Castle Quay Books. So be castlequaybooks.com. Larry Willard. This is another place. They have a lot of Christian content on their website, actually. And then last but not least, and we're going to have to mention this website, would be phyllisschlafly.com/store.
Yeah.
So phyllisschlafly.com/store has a lot of great content as well, and information there that you don't want to miss. Phyllis Schlafly wrote, I don't remember how many books. How many books did she write?
I think that the official number is 27, but there are so many pamphlets and paperbacks that she was the editor of, different things. I'm not sure if there, I think the Phyllis Schlafly canon is considered 27 books, the canonical Phyllis Schlafly. However, there is also just a wealth of things that she produced outside of that, whether she edited or authored it, whether it quite met the qualification of book or not, I'm not sure. That could probably be debated. But regardless, one of our favorite stats that we give every once in a while, I think it was Andy, her son Andy, who does some legal work for us and does some briefs and writing and different things. He's out in New Jersey, a very active part of the conservative movement. He once totaled it up and knew that Phyllis wrote, her words totaled more than 7 times the words of William Shakespeare. I mean, it's just incredible, the volume of stuff that she wrote. And the reason, and honestly, like we've talked about, why it is valuable to actually have physical things, why kind of book publishers have been on our mind. But more than that, whether it's book publishers or newspapers like the Epic Times, or even stuff like the Epic TV programs that they do, documentaries. And we've been talking a lot about this too. Like we always say, we bring you the conversations we're all kind of having here and there. One of the reasons I think that Ed and we have been focusing on this is there's really something very valuable to getting into a topic. It's one thing to read tweets, read an article, kind of get a quick sense of what's going on, but to actually spend time with this book or with a documentary, something long form, and be able to go into this topic, you get to turn it over, kind of like a jewel in your hand. It's not just the one side. There's all of these different angles to consider and inspect and think very carefully and slowly about. Information is the same. So it is extremely good for us as not just Christians, as conservatives, but as American citizens. Pick up these books, watch longer documentaries. Don't just skim through articles and social media, because even if you're getting the truth, because you're looking at good places that don't censor you, like Rumble and Truth Social, you're following people like Jack Posobiec, it's still all really quick. We need to be able to get into some of these issues like authors do with an entire book and consider it, turn it over, kind of chew on it, and examine all of the different parts of it. That is something that's extremely valuable. And as we lose that in society, it's something that I think has made it really hard for us not only to know what we believe, but work out with other people, like, well, what I think versus what you think, where the truth lies, how we live inside of this bubble, because everything is just really quick, very fast, short soundbite versions. And it is a very valuable and good thing to be able to get into a topic and then fully consider it. And books, more than almost anything else, give you the opportunity to do that over a topic, because it's not just that it takes you how many hours to read the book, it took how many months for the author to write the book. They had to take a long time to formulate this argument that's in front of you in your hands. That there is extreme value in that, and we need to have a resurgence of that in society. So books are where it's at. It's been on our list and on Ed's list for a while now. Like, let's talk more about this.
And you get a lot of firsthand experience. You get to read about that. We had an author on our radio show, Congressman Troy Nehls, who actually wrote the book, The Big Fraud, What Democrats Don't Want You to Know About January 6th, the 2020 election, and a whole lot else, is what the title of the book is. And it's true. Social media, books, everyone's trying to spin a different narrative of what actually happened that day. And we had to make sure that we had the correct sources that we can go to get the correct information.
Yeah. And that reminds us, that's one of the prime examples, January 6th right now, because so many people are saying so many things and just automatically assuming that the thing that they're saying is right. Some folks talk about the insurrection. Well, what really is an insurrection, and did it meet the qualification of an insurrection? Now, it's never happened before. Well, it's kind of how we actually technically started in America. If you're looking at the right definition, it was an insurrection, or was it not? There's all the different terms. Get into it and find out. Read his book, and another one I'll put out there. I'm putting this down now. You sent me an Amazon link. I'm not going to put an Amazon link out there. Don't buy books from Jeff Bezos, people.
I can look for another.
No. I got another one. It's not necessarily better. It's Barnes & Noble, but at least it's not Amazon. I'm putting
You
that
mentioned a documentary by the Epic Times,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Are you
You're
going to
just taking me off of the fact that you put us to
I'm
Amazon. You want
sorry.
to deflect here. No, but there's, and let me go find this. The Epic Times produces not just good articles and a great newspaper, epictv.com, I think. It's the epictimes.com/epictv, EPOCH TV. That brings you into a huge section of not just, shows and episodes, but documentaries. And one of them, which I'm going to try to find here when I'm not talking and Joanna's talking about something else, they have done an absolutely incredible, it's like an hour and 40 minutes, I think, this in-depth view of what actually happened at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. And when you look at the actual video evidence and the evidence of everything, and you stop listening to this person or that person or this committee or whatever it is, the story really paints itself. And it's a whole lot different than what a lot of people say on both sides. Like, it's just, don't listen to the story about what happened. Go watch what happened. And the Epic Times does a very good job of that. And Troy Nell's book is also, I haven't read it yet, but shaping up to be absolutely an invaluable resource on that as well. Long form, like, we need to consider this and not just move on very quickly from a headline.
And I really like getting the founders of these different conservative resources where you can get books from them, like Skyhorse Studio or Skyhorse Publishing, from Post Hill Press, Regnery, Castle Cray Books. I like getting the founders on Ez Radio Show and just hearing their stories on their goal to make sure that they don't get canceled, they don't get silenced. Conservative materials can still be available for those who would like to buy just a book, a harmless book. You can still have available to purchase it on their websites. And I appreciate them telling us their stories, how they're fighting for that. And yeah.
And we had, this is, by the way, I down in the comments here, I just put, or in the chat, wherever you are, I just put the link to the Epic Times, the real story of January 6th documentary. That is, most of what the Epic Times does is behind a paywall. They have to, pay somehow. It's behind a subscription service. That is free for September only. So you've got about, 3 more days?
Yeah.
You only have until the end of the month. One more day.
Yeah.
While that is free and available to watch. After that, it goes back behind a paywall. Go watch it now. Watch it tomorrow. Share it with friends, because, again, throw out the commentary about it and just look at the primary sources. That's what the Epic Times is attempting to do, and it's incredible. We got a sneak peek, too, if you missed it, at Eagle Council 51. If you weren't there on September 17th, I'm very sad for you, because Josh Phillip from the Epic Times was there and premiered a new documentary that's coming out, a big long-form item, about the upcoming, what was the name of it? I forget.
I don't remember.
The Final War.
Something
I think it was
like
The
that,
Final
yeah.
War. It's a documentary about China. And this is, talking about China has a long history around here with Phyllis Schlafly, because for a number of decades, since really the end of the Cold War, Phyllis Schlafly has known, hey guys, Russia is not our big bad enemy. Enemy number one of the free Western world is China. And we need to pay attention to this. And it is an economic warfare that is being waged against us. Big business, globalism, these are all of the battlefields. So they're coming out with another thing that looks absolutely incredible. We got the very first world premiere at Eagle Council 51. That was very cool to see. Cool. So I put the link there for the January 6th. And I've put down Skyhorse and Regnery. We've still never decided. If you work for Regnery or Regnery, would someone please, like, I have heard people who should know better say it both ways, and I don't know which. Is it Regnery or is it Regnery? Someone out there can tell us.
I say Regnery.
I say Regnery just to be different. It's kind of true. But correct us, please, because a lot of folks who publish books through them don't even seem to know. Post Hill Press, Castle Quay, a new one around the block, at least on our radar. We've put these down there, and, of course, the Phyllis Schlafly store. But do go and check out, in particular, if you're just kind of thinking about, I really do need to get back into long-form stuff, go buy a copy of Troy Nell's book and go watch the Epic Times documentary on January 6th while you're waiting for the book. There's a topic you can get into, one of the most controversial topics, or at least some people try to make it the most controversial thing in America now. Dive into it. Consider it. Turn it over, and don't just listen to some sound bites or even one show or one podcast. Go into it really deep. Own the physical property and buy the book if you can, and then take a look at it and consider what this issue is and what really happened. So,
well, thank you so much for joining our weekly Unauthorized Caucus. We plan to be here same time, same place next week. So join us next Thursday.
And in the meantime, don't forget, subscribe across the platforms. We've got our Twitter account back up and running. Hashtag can't ban us. Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, you're supposed to do this.
I'm an elder millennial now, so
Yeah.
is it this? Anyway, so yeah, can't stay banned forever. So we're back up on Twitter. You'll find us Eagle Ed Martin, Real PS Eagles, the 2 accounts, and then of course across the board on Rumble, YouTube, Truth Social, Gab, Getter, Facebook, all of them. We're on there. You'll find us under Phyllis Schlafly Eagles one way or another. So. Subscribe, like, and share this video for us, please, wherever you are, and then make sure to share it with your friends. Go find some of the resources we did today. And that's about it. We just, sources have been on our mind. So thanks for letting us share some stuff with you.